All right, taking a look outside this morning. Got a few of those scattered showers still, but overall just a cold morning for us. We'll talk about when that next system comes in, coming up in just a bit.
And we're tracking road conditions for you this morning. We'll have a live report from our 5 News storm chaser coming up in minutes.
And the search for 2 escaped inmates out of Oklahoma continues this morning. Plus how multiple groups are joining in on the search efforts.
A live look now for you out in Rogers this morning at 6:30. 5 News This Morning starts now.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News This Morning.
Well, hey, good morning. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on this Tuesday. Now, we had some rain overnight. Yep. You guys were tracking the temperatures to see if that was going to turn into any ice on the roadways. It looks like we're pretty lucky so far.
Yeah, we said yesterday that there was going to be very small margins. If it's 33 degrees, we're looking at a very cold rainfall. If it drops to 32, though, we could see some freezing rain. And some areas did get some freezing rain, but for the most part, I think a lot of us stayed on the cold rainfall side, which is why we're not seeing any major impacts out there this morning. We take a look at radar, though, and still a very chilly morning out there this morning. Temperatures just above the freezing point in northwest Arkansas, across the river valley, where we still have a few of those scattered showers out there. We didn't even come close to the freezing point, so we just had that annoying cold rainfall throughout most of the evening hours and overnight last night. Now, again, a few places did have some of that freezing rain, which led to minor accumulation, parts of Madison County, parts of northern Johnson County, into Carroll County, and higher elevation at that. That winter weather advisory that was across northwest Arkansas, scheduled to go out until 6 a.m., has since been canceled just because we didn't see much in the way of any accumulation when it came to that ice. Now, again, we still have round number 2 that's coming for tomorrow morning, which will bring the same scenario of another round of some very cold rainfall and maybe some of that freezing rain starting to mix in there as well. Again, of course, very chilly out there this morning, starting off into those low to mid 30s as you head out the door throughout most of the day today. We're going to see another gloomy day with temperatures not climbing much from where we are right now. Daytime highs across northwest Arkansas only reaching up into those upper 30s by the time we get to this afternoon. Going to hang on to the low chances of maybe a spotty shower here and there across the river valley. Daytime highs only going to climb up into those low 40s for today. Again, throughout the morning hours, could see a spotty shower here and there. Again, now we're going to enter into a bit of a lull throughout the day today. Those rain chances pick up once again late this evening, overnight into Wednesday. It's going to be another round of very cold rainfall, but it will carry the chance once again to transition very quickly over to some spots of freezing rain. We'll talk about when and where coming up in just a bit.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Stephen. All right. This morning, we're going to give you a closer look out there because, like you said, there are some slick spots you're going to run across, maybe here or there. We are pretty lucky. But let's go ahead and go out to 5 News. Our Drive 5 is out there right now. Morgan Wrigley, what are you seeing out there?
Hey, Joe and Tiffany. Well, good morning. Like we've been talking about, a lot of us waking up wondering if the roads are going to be icy this morning. And we've been across a lot of the area, starting in Benton, Washington County, driving up to Madison County. And now we're headed back towards Fort Smith right now. I'll give you a look at the road here. We're on I-49, heading south just past Greenland right now, keeping an eye on conditions out here. And we're not seeing a lot of slick spots. We really haven't seen any ice on the route that we've been taking. The main thing we're seeing is that the roads are wet. So I think the main problem you might see is just the roads being maybe a little slick because of the extra moisture there on the roads. But as we expect some more winter weather this week, we have been checking in with our local road crews. And over in Benton County, they say they're already prepped, but this storm is tricky because of the timing. If it starts as rain, that could wash away any of their pre-treatment, making it harder to get ahead of that ice. But if they get a dry window, they say they'll work fast to treat the main roads if we do get ice later this week. But no matter what happens, they say that they have their crews ready to go, their salt and ice, and they're ready to respond.
Right now, we are hoping that there will be a break in that rain and we'll be able to get crews out and at least hit our main thoroughfares. We're just going to have to watch it. But if it does rain and we're unable to pre-treat, we will just hit and respond to the storm as it comes down. And we'll put down our sand and our salt mixture. The sand will give us some grip. The salt will lower that freezing point and melt the snow or the ice, whatever we get. And then we'll have our plows ready in case we get any sort of snow accumulation.
So the big takeaway this morning is probably not too much to worry about with ice. If you were worried about that headed out on your morning commute today, watch for those slick spots, maybe due to the moisture on the roads. But we're going to keep tracking this as we might see another round later this week. So for now, back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Morgan. Well, along with Morgan, we've got Dave Parker with RDOT here. And Dave, we want to know, you have all the crews out across Arkansas this morning. So are there any slick spots that y'all are seeing here in our area?
No reports of accidents on interstates and highways as of 20 minutes ago. So far, so good. Fingers crossed. You know, we are also out patrolling and pre-treating as needed. But with that temperature right around 33, 34 degrees, we're still in kind of that safe zone. But don't let the guard down just yet. We still got a little ways to go. And certainly with daybreak, we'll get better visibility. So just be careful if you have to head out in the next 30, 40 minutes.
Absolutely. And Dave, heading into tomorrow with maybe a similar situation, what are you guys doing to prepare for that as well?
Same thing as we did last night. We'll have crews coming in Tuesday evening, Monday evening, Tuesday evening, kind of watching things, you know, we're watching that freezing point. Temperatures right in that somewhat scary zone of 33 to 35 degrees. If it lowers just a little bit, we could get some ice. So we'll have crews coming in tonight. We'll probably bring in some crews on Tuesday night as well, just to make sure, watching that forecast really more than anything. This has been sort of a tricky one. I know we don't have snow on the ground, and accidents are not happening, which is a great thing, but still kind of a tricky thing, because if we get just a slight temperature change, it could get a little messy out there.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. Tell the crews thank you. You guys are doing a great job out there. All right, in other news this morning, the search continues for two men who escaped from a LaFleur County prison. Now, this happened at the Jimmy Hamilton Correctional Center, which was south of Heavener there in Hodgen this past weekend. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi went to Oklahoma, and he has the details on the search.
The Oklahoma Department of Corrections says Justin Turner and David James walked away from the Jimmy Hamilton Correctional Center in Hodgen, Oklahoma on February 8th. Kay Thompson with the ODOC says the two did so together. Turner is serving a 5-year sentence and James a 16-year sentence, both for drug-related crimes. Thompson says the ODOC is working with the LaFleur County Sheriff's Office, the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics, and the Marshals to try and apprehend the escapees. But this is not the first time that someone has escaped from the Jim E. Hamilton Correctional Center. In November 2024, ODOC says that 51-year-old Douglas Goodson was seen walking away from the jail on November 13th, and another inmate on November 26th. Both were eventually captured. Thompson says the facility does not have a fence because of its remote location in the mountains. Repeated attempts have been made to get word from the LaFleur County Sheriff's Office on its role in the search efforts and the events that led to the escapes, but we have not heard back. In LaFleur County, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
Well, after over a year and a half of speculation, city leaders confirmed that Bass Pro Shops is coming to Fort Smith. It was originally known as Project X and was brought to the Fort Smith city directors back in 2023. They originally wanted to give incentives for an unnamed retail company to take over the location, but Bass Pro decided to come to the area on their own. They announced a 70,000 square foot location taking over the old Best Buy along I-540. The city director says it feels good to finally be able to share the news.
When Bass Pro comes to your city, it speaks to the strength, it speaks to what they believe of the area. And I think it's nothing but positive that we're going to see growth, we're going to see additional things coming around this area.
Well, the store is expected to open in early 2026. Last we heard back in April 2023, the city told us the employer behind the secretive project would employ about 93 people with an average salary of $53,000.
Okay, let's get a traffic update for you. Here's a live look out across I-49 there at Walton Boulevard. No accidents out there this morning, but just according to RDOT, that's on iDrive.com, Crawford County on Highway 71, this is going to be near Mountainburg. There are some power lines in the roadway. That was also the concern for the overnight hours, is that if we got some ice accumulation on those power lines, they could droop in, start to have some issues there. We'll check on power outages here in just a second. As for the roadways, as you head out this morning outside, side of Highway 71 right next to Mountainburg. You should be in the clear on the major interstates and roadways.
Well, new this morning, Alzheimer's Association advocates from across the state will gather in Little Rock at the state capitol today to urge legislators to make dementia care a priority. Now, those with the association are gathering for what is called Alzheimer's and Dementia Awareness Day. They're hoping to increase funding for dementia caregivers. Right now, there are 3 pieces of legislation centered around changing Alzheimer's care in Arkansas, which are awareness, access, and support for caregivers.
I'd like to see the health department develop a more robust public health strategy to begin to address some of the risk reduction and also the importance of early detection and diagnosis, not only for consumers, but also for clinicians.
Well, the Alzheimer's Association is also asking that insurance companies cover access and awareness to basic coverage, like assessments of a patient to see if they're at risk of Alzheimer's. Those at the Capitol today will share their stories and ask lawmakers to take notice of the impact of Alzheimer's on Arkansans.